Hi, I'm Jake with Benelli, and this is the Montefeltro, which has been setting the standard for performance since 1983. The Benelli Montefeltro has always been known for refined performance in the field, and in 2023, it was thoughtfully updated for the modern wing shooter. The refresh brings subtle improvements to a timeless design. This includes upgraded mechanics, slimmer overall lines, and enhanced controls. The Montefeltro now includes the Easy Lock bolt system that delivers more reliable cycling as well as proper engagement even when the bolt is let down softly. In addition, it features the Easy Loading system. This beveled port and two-piece carrier latch make loading a breeze even after a day of high-volume shooting. And of course, Benelli is known for its legendary inertia-driven system that allows the Montefeltro to run clean, cycle fast, and maintain rock-solid reliability with nearly any load. Whether you're chasing wild birds across open country or breaking clays at your local range, the Montefeltro offers a perfect balance of form and function. It's lightweight, fast-pointing, and built for long days afield. The Montefeltro is offered in a wide variety of models to fit your needs and budget, including the classic we all know and love, the sporting with extended barrel lengths, the ultralight for long days afield, the distinctive silver series, and the compact for smaller statured shooters. All right, Ethan, show us what's in the box.
Yeah, let's go ahead and open the lid.
Beautiful piece of wood on that one.
Yeah, it really is. We'll notice here we have the main receiver. Above that is the barrel. Over here, there's a bottle of oil for lubrication. This box here has the choke tubes. It comes with 3. The improved cylinder is in the muzzle.
Okay.
And there's a full and a modified in here with a wrench to change those out and also shims to adjust the stock.
Perfect.
And here we have the owner's manual. There's good charts in here on the choke tubes, on the drop shims, and a lot of other good information. So be sure to check that out.
So anything you need to know right there in the manual.
That's right.
Great. All right, Ethan, it looks like all the parts are here. Show us how to properly assemble this Montefeltro.
Sure. There's a few packing spacers and things we need to get out of the way before we put it together. One here on the bolt handle. We can just pull that off to remove it. This is our box with our choke tubes. We can set that aside for now. So there's our main receiver. The barrel has this red sleeve. We can take that off. So to put the barrel on, we'll first unscrew the magazine cap. And there's a red packing spacer right here in front of the bolt. We want to be sure to remove that.
Yep.
The fore end will then slide off, and we can install the barrel. And to put the barrel on, leave the bolt in the forward or the closed position.
Okay.
And slide the extension over the bolt, in between the bolt and the receiver.
Perfect. That's where some people can get a little bit messed up right there.
Yeah,
sure
and
if
if you pull the bolt back, it can end up locking up. So just go ahead and leave the bolt in the forward position. You won't have to force anything if it's done correctly. And it's an easy gun to assemble. Slide the barrel on. The fore end will then slide over the magazine tube. And then install the magazine cap.
Just nice and hand tight there.
Hand tight on this one. Yeah, no tools necessary. And from there, it's ready to go.
Looks like we're ready to go to the field.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, Ethan, so we've been out in the field with our Montefeltro. Now show us how to properly disassemble this.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and field strip it. Before we do that, always open the bolt, inspect the chamber, inspect the magazine, make sure it's unloaded, and then we have a safe gun to work on. This one here is safe, so we'll go ahead and remove the magazine cap. And once the magazine cap is off, we can take the fore end and slide it forward. And we can then take the barrel and pull it away from the receiver.
Simple enough.
After the barrel is removed, we can remove the bolt by pulling out the bolt handle. And if it's a little tight, you can take a flathead screwdriver, and I'm just patting the receiver here with a shop towel to pop the bolt handle out. Once that's removed, the bolt will then slide out of the front of the receiver. It's always a good idea to take your choke tube out and clean that. If you've been out, moisture and things like that can build up inside the thread. So with the choke wrench, go ahead and remove your choke. Wipe this off, clean off any kind of buildup, debris that might be on those threads. And apply a little bit of choke tube lube.
One little bead just around the top of that thread.
I normally start right at that first thread, and then it'll work its way up. And it's always a good idea to lubricate the bolt rails where it rides in the receiver and operates the carrier.
Just a very light little base layer.
Right, that's right. And then we can reassemble, and it's ready to go.
Perfect. So again, this is just the basic maintenance that maybe after you spend a weekend in the field, you'd want to wipe down basic field strip, right?
That's right. Maybe if you've been out in a little bit of rain, that sort of thing, debris, dust, just want to break it down, quick cleaning. It's simple.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
All right, Ethan, so we've got this torn down to this level. What about for the guy who wants to take it a step further?
Yeah, maybe it's been 10 or 12 years and you notice your action getting a little slower, or maybe there's a situation where the gun got really wet, and you want to take it apart even further. Okay. So we can go ahead and do that now. We already have the barrel and the bolt out. To clean the inside of the barrel, I like to use a bore mop. If there's some areas in there that you really can't seem to get with a mop, you can use a brush, a bronze brush, and whatever's your favorite bore cleaner to go in and scrub it out. But most of the time with a shotgun, a bore mop is going to take care of it. The bolt is already out of the gun. We'll go ahead and disassemble that. There's a firing pin retaining pin on the back of the bolt, and that's the first thing we remove. But be sure to cover. I just put my finger over the back of the firing pin to hold it in place. Okay. Because it's under spring tension there.
Okay. You got to cover that or it'll go haywire on
It'll fly out. That's right. So there it is. There's a firing pin and firing pin spring. The firing pin goes through this locking head pin. So once the firing pin is out, the locking head pin will drop out.
Okay.
The locking head will then pull out of the front of the bolt body. You have to get it past that easy lock bolt detent. So you'll feel that pressure. Just pull it past that.
Okay.
The inertia spring.
Sorry, guys. I'm gonna cough real bad.
All right, I'm back up right where it was. The inertia spring inside the bolt, you'll need to pull that past that detent as well.
Okay.
And you may need something to hook that, a little pick or something just to hook it and pull it past the detent.
Okay.
And that's the bolt assembly. I'm going to go ahead and put that back together. The inertia spring goes in. And this area may require some cleaning. This spring, the locking head, it's always important to make sure the firing pin protrudes all the way through the hole in the locking head. If it doesn't, a small pipe cleaner, something like that, you can use just to clean out the locking head there.
And now for all those bolt pieces, are you oiling those and wiping them down? Are you using compressed air? What's the best way to kind of say we did, because it happens, we did submerge our gun, something like that, and we had a little bit of trash or something in there.
Yeah, compressed air is great. I like either a nylon or a bristle brush.
Okay.
Just brush out these notches on the bottom of the bolt. This longer one here, that's the carrier relief notch. The front of the bolt as well. This area in here, you can get a lot of buildup.
Yeah, on mine, that's where the grass seeds and the weeds and
definitely
things like that
it'll collect there for sure. And then these parts, we'll oil these a little bit on the inertia spring.
Now, on those parts, can I over oil that? Can I put too much? Is that something I need to be worried about?
Really, too much oil is just going to collect, build up, unburnt powder, that kind of stuff. So you don't want to soak it.
Okay.
But yeah, the inertia spring, we'll put that back in. The locking head, push those past that detent. You'll feel that spring pressure,
Okay.
just push it past. This locking head pin has a line on top, and that just indicates where the hole is for the firing pin to go through. So that line can go either way, front or back.
Okay.
We'll then take our firing pin and insert it into the firing pin spring, and then those into the back of the bolt, through the locking head pin, and then take our firing pin retaining pin and press it back in. So the bolt's all set. We'll leave the handle out for now so we can put it back in the
Okay.
receiver. From here, we'll take apart the receiver, the magazine, and the recoil tubes. I'm going to go ahead and get the trigger assembly out first by just removing this pin in the side of the receiver. We can tap that out with a punch. To get the trigger assembly out, we need to push and hold the bolt release button.
Okay.
And then we can pull the trigger assembly out of the receiver. And what that is doing, that is levering the shell latch out of the way
Okay.
so that we can drop the trigger assembly down.
Yeah.
So for the trigger assembly, you really won't need to take this apart. What I like to do is just press the safety onto the fired position, release the hammer, and then blow this out with compressed air.
Okay.
I have this air tool here, air compressor with a nozzle, something like that. Just blow out this. And that'll remove most of your fouling and buildup that might be in the trigger assembly.
Okay.
To recock the hammer in this position, leave the safety on the fire position
Okay.
there. Yeah, so we can recock it. That allows your trigger to move. This is another one we can put a little bit of oil on. The trigger assembly, you really don't want to over oil because
Okay.
anything that collects in here, that
Yeah,
can
that
cause
makes
a problem.
sense.
Yeah, exactly. So what I like to do is just maybe a little bit on the carrier spring. And lots of times I'll just move some of that oil around by hand.
Okay.
You know, maybe down here in the hammer spring cap, on the drop lever. Not too much, just and anywhere you might have a little bit of spot rust appearing, obviously brush that off, oil it,
Okay.
remove that. And then trigger's all set. To remove the parts inside of the magazine, there is a plug on the end of this tube, and it does have flats on it.
Okay.
So you can put a wrench on it to take the spring and follower and all that out. First, we'll go ahead. If you notice, if we tip it up, the limiter plug, which limits it just to 3 shells, will pretty much fall right out.
Okay.
It's possible to lose this if you have the magazine cap off of the gun and it's tilted up.
Right.
It can come out. And as you know, for most states and species, you'll need this.
Of course.
You don't want to lose your limiter plug. Be careful it doesn't fall out on you in the field. But for now, we'll just take that out. The flats on the plug, we can take a wrench and unscrew the plug. Now, if this hasn't been removed before, it may be tight. And
Okay.
you can put the receiver inside of a padded vise
Okay.
to remove this plug. Don't put the tube in the vise, though,
Okay.
because you could crimp it. So
Okay.
just lock the receiver in a vise. Once it's been removed, once or twice, it's a little easier because there's a nylon washer on that plug.
Okay.
And this one here, you want to be careful. There's a lot of spring tension.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want to lose that.
No. There's the mag tube plug, magazine spring, and the magazine follower.
Okay.
So from there, we can wipe out the magazine tube. And really, this is an area where you can have sand and feathers and things build up. But you don't want to oil any of these parts. It's really best to leave this dry because any oil in there will collect more feathers and dirt and that kind of thing. So this area leave dry.
Wipe it clean.
Wipe it clean, leave it dry. There is a recoil tube inside the stock on here in a spring assembly, so we want to take all that out, especially like you said, if the gun's been underwater. You know, some of that can be back here. For the recoil pad on this one, there's 2 Phillips head screws. A little oil on the screw holes will protect the rubber, and then a screwdriver or drill to remove the pad. For the stock, there's a 13 millimeter nut that we need to take off. So with a T-handle or socket wrench, we'll go in and pull off a 13 millimeter. Then the stock will slide away from the receiver. So in here we have some stock hardware. There's a spacer. Then we have a locking plate, lock washer, and a nut. On the front of the stock, that's our drop shims.
Okay.
We can snap those off. Sit the stock right over there. There's our drop shim, then cast shim. So this tube, if this has never been cleaned on an older gun, this could be a dirtier area.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and take that out and clean it. And it's possible to clean it without removing this plug. Solvent and oil can be sprayed into the back of the receiver and then work the bolt, and that will all begin to work out of this hole.
Okay.
But really, if it's been a long time since this has been done, or if it's never been done on a dirtier gun, it's best to go ahead and take it apart, clean it out.
Okay.
So this plug also can be very tight if it's never been removed. So just like the magazine plug, the receiver can be put in a vise.
Okay.
To take this plug off. And this is a 17 millimeter. And once again, a lot of spring tension here, just be careful. So there's the plug. And we have a recoil spring and a recoil spring plunger. So here, this is one area. Really get this plunger clean. The spring, just work down each one of the coils. Make sure any kind of buildup, anything like that's removed. Any moisture. And then I'll normally take like a pistol cleaning rod or a short cleaning rod and just push into here and clean out this tube. Make sure it's dry. And from there, it's fully broken down, and we can go ahead and reassemble.
Perfect.
For the recoil spring and plunger, once it's clean, you can go ahead and oil this pretty heavily. Most hunters and shooters aren't going to take this out very often. So a good coat of oil on that plunger. Insert the plunger and spring back into the tube. And then install the tube plug. Once again, this is a 17 millimeter. I'm going to tighten it by hand. To reinstall the trigger assembly, once again we have to push the bolt release button to lever the shell latch over to the side. The trigger assembly can then be placed back into the receiver. And drive the pin back in place. For the stock, we'll start off with our drop shims. This one has a C in it, and it's a right-handed gun, so we have DX facing the rear.
Okay.
To change that, there's a good table in the manual as far as changing the drop and the cast. We'll take the stock, slide that over the recoil tube. In the back of the stock, first, this plastic spacer goes in. Our CDX locking plate, which corresponds with our drop shim. CDX will be on top facing the rear.
Okay.
And that fits, the notches on that fit right in that spacer block. We have a lock washer that goes over the stud. Our 13 millimeter nut. Use a T-handle wrench to tighten the nut by hand. The recoil pad, once again, is 2 Phillips head screws. And then we've reinstalled the stock and the recoil pad. Next, we'll go ahead and do the magazine follower and spring. So we'll start with the magazine follower. Insert the magazine spring. And we want to be careful with this one. It can get away from you. And then the magazine plug. And there's one really important step on the plug. If you look at the tube and look at the plug, there's a witness mark. And essentially just a line scribed into it. And those lines need to line up because that is what allows the barrel to fully seat into the receiver. So, I'm going to go around another rotation. Those lines right there, they need to align.
That means it's all the way down.
Yeah, that means this cap is all the way down, and that's where the barrel hanger seats. So that allows the barrel to fully seat into the receiver.
Perfect.
So this is really important to get that lined up. We can then take our bolt assembly, slide it into the front of the receiver. The bolt handle, simply push it in place. The barrel, leave the bolt in the forward position for this. Drop the barrel onto the receiver. The fore end slides over the barrel. We can then put our limiter plug back in, install the magazine cap, lastly we'll take our choke tube, and thread that back into the muzzle. And from there, it's clean. It's all set. It's ready to go.
Ready to go back to the field.
Exactly.
The Montefeltro has always been a favorite of our customers, and when maintained correctly, will continue to be one of those favorites for years to come. For more information on the Montefeltro, you can always refer to your owner's manual or visit BenelliUSA.com.